Greetings folks. In this video we'll show you the functionality of our multi-place chamber. What we have right behind me is the multi-place chamber that can be configured based on your custom requirements. The particular model behind me is configured for 3 individuals. 2 are configured along this row and then 1 jump seat configured in the rear. Now let's go over the user interface on that side to some of the key features. So I'll start with the key features of the multi-place chamber, followed by the user interface. Now, notice that there are 2 open-close valves right here, very intuitively written. This direction it's closed, and counterclockwise direction it's open. Similarly, we have the same kind of valve on the other side, right next to the logo. Then we have 2 emergency pressure release valves, 1 here and 1 hidden behind this user interface. It is hidden, but nonetheless they are actuated from inside, hence it really doesn't matter whether they are hidden or not. So having said that, let's recap what we have for safety. We have open close valves, 2 of them. We have 2 emergency pressure release valves here. Next, we have the external pressure gauge, which is denoted in kilopascal, and at the same time, the internal pressure gauge, it would be installed right here inside. So whatever you can see from outside, you would be able to see the same pressure from inside. On top of that, we have a digital representation of that pressure here. Now this brings me to the user interface, or UI. Now, notice that you have a pretty large size user interface. It's touch driven. So we'll first focus on this coordinate right there. It's segmented in 4 sections. At the top left corner, you have the temperature in centigrade. Bottom left corner, it's the humidity, 31% humidity in Chicago area as of today. You have top right corner, which is your oxygen concentration. That is the constituent of oxygen in 1 atm at sea level, 21%. And then at the bottom right corner, you have the 0 kilopascal pressure, followed by 3 easy to operate buttons, ionizer, light, and air conditioner. We'll go over them at a later time. Next, you have the easy to operate power on off here, and then pressure relief right there. Also notice the timer, which is very easy to operate. All you have to do is just hit that, and it would go up in increment of 30 minutes, such as 30 minutes, 60, 90, 120, and going back the other way. Now, here you have the pressure selection. We'll ignore this. That is only the pressure and the readout reset button. In case it doesn't quite read accurately, all you have to do is just hold on to this for long 4 seconds and you'd hear a long beep such as this. There you have it. And if any of this temperature at this time wasn't reading correctly, by pressing that button, it would reset. Next, you have the pressure selection button. In my case, I have the 1.3, 1.6, and 2.0. This too can be customized. Next, you have the communication system. In the event that you need to speak to your client or your patients inside, all you have to do is pick up the handset and it would ring. Conversely, if someone needs your attention from inside, all they have to do is press the button, which is right here, and this phone will ring. Now, regarding the ports and some of the equipment that can be added to this, we also offer here multiple spare ports. In this particular model, we have 3 spare ports. The spare ports here in this configuration is spare here, spare here, spare here, and this is the pressure release valve. Now this is a 2.0 machine, and hence the pressure release valve is equipped with a 2.0 pressure release valves. Now let's move here, take a look at the profile of this machine, which is very low profile, and that would prevent any possible psychosomatic response or claustrophobia. It is engineered in such that having this low profile gives you the impression from inside that you are not cooped up in a small confined area. Also, take a look at this stepping stool. With this low profile, when you step on this stepping stool, individuals with range of motion challenges would not have any issues whatsoever simply by taking advantage of this stepping stool and then having this much area to go over in order to get into the chamber. For instance, using this golf ball grip as I open the door, I'll take my shoes off since it's a clean environment, and I would step on the stepping stool, scoot just a little bit over, and inside I'm in the chamber. Now, conversely, after the session is over, all you have to do is get up, make sure not to touch any of the door mechanism here. Instead, I would grab the door handle here. If need be, I could also grab the door handle here, but this will suffice for now. Open, step out sideways, and then here you are. In the next video, we will go over the internal control panel mechanism, and then you will see whatever you can do from here, you would be able to do the same thing from internal control panel mechanism. Now let's go over the external UI or user interface functionality. In order to operate the machine, as I've stated, you would need to pay attention what your temperature, oxygen concentration, pressure, and relative humidity readings are. Next, close the door if it was open using this golf ball grip. Following the instruction, I would close this open-close valve. Following the instruction, I will close this open-close valve, and now I am ready to go. I am selecting a pressure of 1.3 ATA. You don't have to. I just picked a random pressure selection, and at that point, I will begin the pressurization. All I have to do is I'm selecting a timer. It's optional, 60 minutes, and after that, I will hit the button, and the door would close by having the door pushed against the door seal, and we will notice in just a few seconds that the pressure will rise, such as right now the pressure is 1 kilopascal. It should go up to 2 in just a few seconds. There you go. And I'm also beginning to notice that my oxygen concentration too is rising from 21 at sea level to 22%. Now, if I want to turn the lights on inside this middle button right here by pressing, it would light up here, and you would also see the light internally, which is right on the ceiling, is also lit up. If I want to turn the ionizer on, all you have to do is just turn this on, and the ionizer is something that would produce the negative ion with a capacity of 5 million ions per square centimeter. Let's go over the ionization part. The ionization has a little bit of beneficial effects. In nature, you will have negative ion, such as in sea beaches, forests, salt caves, after the rain, thunderstorm, and so on and so forth. So those have some negative, the negative ionization there would have the positive health benefits, and here we have incorporated that negative ionization here. The capacity of this ionization is 5 million ions per square centimeter of area, and that would be sufficient for you to have the potential health benefits of the ionization. Now, if you want to turn the air conditioner on, all you have to do is just press this air conditioner button, and then you would be able to use the remote control, which is inside, and then operate the air conditioner. Now, the chamber has been pressurizing for the last few minutes, and I would like you to notice a couple of things that has changed here. And those changes are, most significantly, the oxygen concentration level. Remember, at 0 pressure, which is sea level, and 1 atm, the constituent of air, is only 21% that we breathe. But notice here you have 27% oxygen, which is a significant rise in oxygen concentration level. Now, many of you often ask the question whether you are breathing 100% oxygen. The answer is no. You are going to be breathing up to 95% oxygen when you only use the face mask, nasal cannula, or headset. The highest concentration would be when you're using the face mask, followed by your nasal cannula, and then last, the headset. Many of you also ask the question, what would happen if there's a power outage? So what we have done, we have induced a power outage intentionally. And notice the entire screen or user interface went blank, and then I'm hearing also the sound the machine has begun the depressurization process automatically. So to answer your question in terms of your concerns, would there be any danger or anything of that sort if the power should go out? The answer is no. The chamber itself is designed in such with engineering concept in mind, which has been implemented here, that in the event of any power outage, there is enough safety features built into it, and you will not have to worry about depriving yourself of oxygen. Now, what I'll do, I will open them up all the way, because this is, let's say, an emergency situation, and then notice that the door would open. So here I go. Once again, you are only going to be engaging this in the event of an emergency. And once the chamber is brought down to 0 kPa, the door would open automatically and you would be able to open the door. At this time, I cannot, simply because it is under pressure. So here is the air that's escaping, and I'm hearing that the sound is tapering off, and now in just a few seconds, the door would open, such as that. And now you are ready to step out of the chamber in safety. While you've stepped out of the chamber, look at the interface. The interface is still dark, which indicates that the power is still out and it hasn't been restored. So hence, it proves that no matter what, if you have a concern that what would happen in the event there is a power outage, we have just demonstrated that there's nothing to be concerned about. It will, upon engaging these two valves, upon also skipping the pressure from inside the chamber to the outside and bringing the equilibrium, the door would open automatically. Now let's go over some of the internal key features. Now, anything that I had done from external user interface or UI, I should be able to demonstrate the same set of functionalities from inside. Now here, I will show how to do that. So I'll take my shoes off, grab the door handle, be slightly sideways, and step into the chamber, and close the door. Then turn the lights on, which is right here. We'll get to that in just a few seconds. I'll close this valve. Also, I'll close this valve, and now I'll begin the pressurization. Now notice that the chamber immediately started to pressurize, and I did not need anyone to help me start this session. So let's do a recap. Anything that I had done earlier, shown in the previous video, I did pretty much the same thing from inside without the assistance of an operator or someone else. Now let's move over to the internal user interface. Notice that you would have the same set of user interface as you had seen earlier. Top left corner, 22 degrees centigrade. Top right corner, 21% oxygen, and then bottom right, the pressure, and then bottom left, the 35% humidity. And then I have the same ionization feature, and then the air conditioning feature. We'll go over the air conditioner in a separate video, and we will show you how the air conditioning feature works. Now let's go over some of the internal features. You have two sets of compressors here, one compressor that would be pressurizing through here with the condensation cup, and then the one exactly on the opposite side from this direction. You also have two sets of oxygen sources. The first oxygen source is right here, and then mirror image of that would be on the other side, such as right there. Here is the holder for the air conditioner and remote. Here is the sensor. Do not touch this sensor. And then right behind that, behind me, is the air conditioner. We will go over that once more on a separate video. The communication button with which that you would communicate to someone from inside to outside would be this, and that would ring the phone outside where your attendant or a family member would be able to hear and pick up the phone. Now let's go over the features from internal control panel or internal user interface, the functionality of this chamber. Remember from our previous video how we have explained the external large user interface or UI. Now we will focus on this UI, which is the internal UI. Notice it is the same set of miniature version of the external control panel or UI. Here at the top left corner, you have the temperature in centigrade. Bottom left corner, you have the 40% relative humidity. Top right corner, you have the 21% oxygen. And bottom right corner, you have the 0 kPa. Furthermore, you have the same set of timer option where you would be able to select in the increment of 30 minutes your session, such as 30 minutes, 60, 90, 120, and so on and so forth. Now let's focus here. You have the same ionization feature here, and you have the same air conditioning feature right there. And here you have the internal light turn on and off. Again, you have the same power on and then the power off or depressurization process. Here you have the TV remote on off switch. Once it's on, you would see the blue background followed by your LED, which would turn off this light right here. And off it went, and I'll turn it back on again. You have the same set of pressure selection option. You have the 1.5, 1.6, and 2.0. Once again, these are configurable. Now let's go over some of the other internal key features. You have two sets of oxygen compressors and air compressors that is equipped with this system. The reason for that is in case one goes out, there is a redundancy or backup that is engineered into the system. So anything that you see on this side, it is also replicated right behind me. For instance, you have the output for your air pressure that is coming through here, attached by a muffler, which is designed to collect condensation should there be any condensation that is forming. Then you have the oxygen source. This is where you would connect your nasal cannula or face mask or the headsets. Reciprocally speaking, as I stated, anything that you see here is on the other side, such as here, right behind me. The reciprocal side of what we've witnessed on the other side is also replicated here, such as here is your air, there's your oxygen port on which you would connect your nasal cannula or face masks. The AC functionality can be controlled by means of this remote, which is provided with your chamber. To turn on the AC, all you have to do is press the air conditioning button right here. And after that, I will take over the remaining control on this remote. Now there are 5 speeds, which is controlled by these two. So I will increase the speed. Third, fourth, and fifth. And then I will reduce the fan speed, followed by the temperature setting, which also can be controlled, such as bringing the temperature up or bringing the temperature down. Now you also have a feature called the swing feature, and what you are witnessing right now is the swing feature on. Notice that this louver is going up and down. One thing to keep in mind that you should never touch any of these, so please pay attention not to encroach in its path. From time to time, should you experience that the battery of this remote control is out, that's nothing to be concerned about. You would be able to control all of those features from here, such as increasing the temperature, increasing the fan speed, and increasing the temperature up and down through these buttons. There's one more feature that indicates whether the door has been shut properly. So the way to understand that you have closed the door properly is by the following. Close the door and immediately hear 2 beeps, one long beep and one short beep. And that beep also would be augmented by means of a red flashing light, actually 2, one longer and one shorter. So here we go. We're closing the door. And notice the one long beep and one short beep, and then that indicates that the door has been shut properly. At this point, you can begin depressurization just by pressing the on button, and then depressurization should begin shortly. The easiest way to depressurize the chamber from inside and get out is the following. Let's say you have spent the 60 to 90 minutes of your session, and now it's time to depressurize. All you have to do is turn the pressure off button right here, and followed by opening up the open-close valve about an inch in linear distance. So that's done here. Now I'll do the same thing here. And in the meantime, if I feel any eustachian tube lack of equilibrium issue, which I'm experiencing right now, all I have to do is perform the Valsalva maneuver. By swallowing and pinching my nose and blowing gently, I was able to relieve the pressure that was built into my eustachian tube. Now I will continue to depressurize as needed and as I feel comfortable. Keep in mind that as you're depressurizing, you should not be opening up the open-close valve all the way, as that may contribute greater feeling of the pressure built into your eustachian tube. So go easy, and as you become a lot more accustomed to the pressure, you will get better. So it's been about a minute since we have begun the depressurization process, and once the pressure reaches about, let's say, 10 kilopascal, that is the safe place for you to open up the valve all the way. So now let's just go ahead and do that. So at this pressure, I feel completely comfortable opening up the valve all the way. Right here. And as it's depressurizing, I feel a little bit of chill. And that is perfectly normal. It is the simple PV is equal to nRT, or ideal gas law. Your pressure is decreasing, so would the temperature. Notice after it reaches 0, the door would drop automatically, and at that point, I would grab the door handle and step out. And now I will give you the demonstration of that. So let's just wait a few seconds. The door has dropped, and I will gently slide the door open, and I will watch the step right here, never to step on this object right here, the protective cover, and then I will grab the door handle here, step out sideways, grab the door handle here, and I am out. To turn off the LED of the multi-place chamber at the bottom and not the top one, all you have to do is turn off the LED button on the all-in-one machine, and we will show you how to do that now. There are two buttons. The LED button is the bottom one. Once you use that toggle switch, the bottom LED should turn off. I'm going to turn off the button right now, and then if I decide to turn it back on, I will flip the switch again. Keep in mind that this LED is only for aesthetic only. It has no bearing on the functionality of the machine. Now let's go over the rear of the multi-place chamber. Here you have all the guts and the mechanism in terms of the mechanical tubings, as well as your all-in-one machine. For demonstration purposes, what we have done, we have taken the guts out. So here you can see this section is dedicated for air conditioner. Here is the compressor. And then you have the first air compressor. An oxygen concentrator is separate, not here. And then here you have the second air compressor. Recap, you have the AC, you have your air compressor, which is 110 liter per minute capacity, the first one. And then you have the air compressor, also 110 liter per minute, the second one. Now let's go over some of the tubings that are crucial to the functionality of the chamber. Here you have the door tube, which is marked door, which goes right here. And then let's focus on the blue tubes, which is indicated the oxygen flow. That would be one here, and it is marked oxygen. And then you have the second oxygen port right here. And then you have the clear tubes that are the air compressor, marked air, and then you have the second clear tube, which is marked air here. And these two are the one going here, going through the filtration system that is right here, and then into the chamber here. And reciprocally speaking, you have the second one going also from here. Then you have the two spare ports here, and then spare port right here. And these two spare ports are in addition to the three other spare ports that we have already shared with you, which is located on this side of the chamber. Now, many of you have asked us the question how to maintain this multi-place chamber. Of course, there are some maintenance variables involved, but they're quite simple. One of the things that you'd have to replace from time to time, usage dependent, I repeat, usage dependent, is the filter here and the filter here. Depending on how frequently you are using this chamber, you will have to replace the filter at some point in time. We do have qualified technicians who can come in and replace those filters for you, and then they will also do the pressure test and few other tests along with the maintenance. Now let's talk about the air conditioning maintenance. The air conditioner also would need maintenance. The major thing that you would have to do with the air conditioner is to replace the water with distilled water. How much to fill in the water is written right on the sticker right here. You would clearly see that there is a sensor, temperature sensor, located at this level, and here's the water. So every month you would have to replenish the water using distilled water. To do that, all you have to do is use this drainage valve, open it all the way, and then collect the water into a bucket, drain it, and then close the valve and replenish the water. Once again, we have the qualified technician all you have to do is contact us and we will put you in touch with one of our qualified technicians, and they could do the maintenance. Keep in mind, the maintenance would depend on your usage. So the more number of times that you use the chamber in a day, of course, you would have to maintain it a lot more frequently. Example, if you are using the chamber 3 to 5 times a day, you'll have to maintain it every 3 months. If you are using between 1 to 2 times a day, you'd have to maintain every 4 months. If you are using 0 to 1 time per day, you'll have to maintain it every 6 months. The maintenance is a lot more affordable than you think, so please consider having it done by a qualified technician. Once again, that's not required but recommended, but to keep in mind that it is your investment and you really should keep the machine in optimal condition for this machine to service you for years to come. The machines are all movable, including this all-in-one machine and the chamber itself. So the mechanism that prevents the moving is this locking mechanism right here. Upon engaging the locking mechanism, the machine will remain fixed. And if you would like to move, all you have to do is disengage this mechanism, and now you are ready to move about the wheels and place it to a place that you desire. Same thing with the chamber. At the bottom of the chamber, you have the you have the wheel right here, and it says right here, in this direction you would loosen, and in this direction you would tighten. All you have to do is get a screwdriver and then engage and disengage this mechanism to tighten and loosen the wheel. And once you've placed the chamber and then you dropped it down to tighten, that's where it will remain until you disengage and loosen the mechanism again. Now let's talk about the oxygen concentration. The oxygen concentration inside the chamber is provided by means of having 2 individual oxygen concentrators attached to the chamber, such as this. Now this is on the right side of the chamber. You also have an equivalent oxygen concentrator on the left side of the chamber. It is very easy to operate. You turn it on and leave it on, and then once you select the pressure or pressurization process, the oxygen concentrator would come in automatically by means of these 2 wires, D1 and D2. The display panel will show you the number of operations. The operation here is 36 hours, and runtime is for the last 2 minutes. Once everything is running okay, it would show you that the O2 normal mode LED button is on, and then the green power button also would indicate that the machine is running properly. If you have an overflow, you would have the overflow green LED that would turn on automatically, and as it needs service, the service light button or LED button also should come on. Next, we will show you the progressive control unit that controls your variable pressure. Here is the progressive control unit, and here you have the 4 pressure release valves. These valves would depend on your model, which would represent the pressure selection. Here I have 2.0, 1.6, 1.6, and 1.3. It is connected via the interface that goes to the board and controls the user interface button selections that selects a specific pressure. Now, next we will talk about the grounding of the system. It is very important to keep your system grounded at all times when you operate the machine, and that is achieved by having this grounding wire, which is marked clearly, that says grounding mat. This wire should be plugged into your grounding port of your wall outlet. Now there are some tips to get in and out of the chamber. The door is engaged by means of actuating certain number of cylinders. With that, it is imperative that the door mechanism should be operated without any impediments or any encroachment. So to get in and out of chamber, it is important that you only grab the door handles and the stepping stool and sideways enter and exit the chamber. There are some cover that is protecting the door mechanism. It is important that you do not step on that mechanism or touch the door rail. Once again, to recap, to get in and out of the chamber, the only thing that you can grab are these two door handles, stepping to the stepping stool, and enter or exit the chamber like so. Now, as you know, the air quality that you are going to be breathing in is very important. We have already demonstrated that a set of 2 filters with beads and a lot of moisture and other contaminant absorbing materials are packed in those 2 filter sets. Now let's talk about the air quality of the room where this chamber would be located. It is very important that you use a HEPA grade filter as well as very high quality filter for your HVAC air handler system. Now, once you keep your chamber clean as well as your filter updated at all times or replaced at all times, you will get the highest quality air possible for you to breathe. And that good quality air would ensure your wellness and your benefits and maximum efficacy that you would expect to get out of this chamber. To continue on the cleaning and keeping your machine in optimal condition, it is also important to make sure that you keep the machine vacuumed, the interior, on a regular basis. You should really keep the metal surface cleaned and disinfected with 71% alcohol. And then for the carpet and the diamond quilted lining, you should be using vacuum cleaner. And for the door, it is important that you never use alcohol or else it would become cloudy. What would you use instead? Well, what we recommend is phosphate-free detergent. In a small bowl, put a few drops of phosphate-free detergent and get a rag, dampen it, and then wipe it down, and then immediately after that, using a lint-free cloth, make sure that it is completely dry. Now, in between session, we highly recommend that you use a UV disinfecting wand. And here is the UV wand, and it should take no more than 5 minutes to clean the entire interior. Always make sure that you never look at the UV light directly, and to protect your eyes, always use a pair of glasses. Now, as you've noticed, the maintenance is very simple. You would use the UV wand to disinfect the area to make sure that you are not taking any risk in terms of transmission of any pathogens, as well as keeping your surface clean and dust-free when you vacuum the interior on a regular basis. So here is the recap of our multi-place chamber. It is quite versatile and feature-rich that you would not find elsewhere. From the interior, which is lined with diamond-quilted, sound-absorbing material to reduce the reverberation effect quite quickly, the 60 decibel, that is something that you would not find in other competitors of ours. The fine details of the interior to the feature-rich exterior and its full functional capabilities of interior user interface to that same of the interior user interface. These are some of the features that you would find in this chamber. Let's recap. You have 2 open-close valves, and then you have 2 emergency valves, one right here and one right behind me under this user interface. You have the full touchscreen operational features such as the timer and you being able to read the temperature, the relative humidity, the oxygen concentration and the pressure, as well as you can select your ionization option. negative ionization, that is the light, the air conditioner, and then on and off button. Furthermore, you also have the communication option that rings inside, and reciprocally speaking, behind that you have two sets of push button that you can engage from inside to be able to talk here on this handset. You also have the pressure or the reset option that you can use to reset the oxygen concentration and pressure. Then you have the pressure selection option. And furthermore, you have plenty of spare ports where you could add additional equipment if that is what you desire. So if you have any further questions, please give us a call.